back to another interesting installment of Fireside Reads. I'm your host, Devin Newbeard. This week, we'll be talking about Othello from Four Great Tragedies written by William Shakespeare. Before you start reading this book, you're going to need three things: a nice fuzzy bear blanket, or any old blanket that you can find, a huge cup of hot chocolate, my favorite, and of course, your phone for when you inevitably get bored of this presentation. But I shouldn't get distracted. Let's get into our featured presentation. I hope you enjoy. William Shakespeare was baptized on April 26, 1564, at the Holy Trinity Church in Stratford-upon-Avon. Since no certificate of birth was ever found, this is the only true record of his birth that we know of today. He was the third oldest child of John Shakespeare, a skilled merchant, and Mary Arden, a landed heiress for the surrounding area. John Shakespeare was a very important merchant and official. Records about William Shakespeare's education is very scarce, but scholars speculate that because of his father's nobility, he would have attended King's New School in Stratford for virtually free tuition. On November 28, 1582, he married the love of his life, Anne Hathaway, at the age of 18. By the early 1590s, Shakespeare was one of the main characters in the Lord Chamberlain's Men, a theater troupe that performed all around London. The crowning of King James I in 1603 influenced the troupe to change their name to the King's Men. The troupe was quite popular in its day. Shakespeare's writing style was different from the other playwrights of his time. He adapted from the traditional writing style to make his words flow freely. His earlier works were mostly actual historic events, such as Richard II, Henry IV, and Henry V. Shakespeare was able to show his wittiness and sense of humor after he wrote some comedies, such as A Midsummer's Night's Dream, Merchant of Venice, and Muchacho About Nothing. In the early 1600s, Shakespeare dabbled in tragedies, such as Hamlet, Macbeth, and Othello. By the end of his career, he decided to combine the two play styles to create tragic comedies, which, though were depressing, he would add bits of comedy and the ending would always have forgiveness in it. The plays that he wrote for this included The Tempest and The Winter's Tale. Scholars believe that Shakespeare got his main ideas for Othello from Giovanni Sanzu, an Italian playwright who was an active playwright in the mid-1500s. Giovanni Sanzu wrote a play about a black general who believed that his wife was unfaithful. Sanzu's play was finished in 1565. Shakespeare took this idea and added his own artistic and dramatic flair to create the play Othello. It is greatly argued when Shakespeare officially finished his writing of Othello, but scholars believe that it was around 1604. Shakespeare's knockoff play became widely known throughout the lands, while Giovanni Sanzu's original version was looked over and forgotten. Othello was first performed in November of 1604 by Shakespeare's theater troupe, the King's Men. It was performed for His Royal Majesty King James I in his palace's banquet hall. The first publication of Othello was in 1622 by a man named Thomas Walkie. The play has also turned into many movies over its existence, most recently being the 1995 movie Othello starring Lawrence Fishburne as Othello. Follow along as I reenact Act 2, Scene 1 of William Shakespeare's Othello. Our story begins in the Italian city of Venice, with two men talking at the beginning, Iago and Rodrigo. Othello is a Moor, which means he's a dark-skinned fellow from North Africa. He has just been appointed a new lieutenant, Cassio. Iago, a deceitful and cynical man, is upset with this because he believes that he deserves this promotion. Othello is secretly married to Desdemona, which is upsetting to Rodrigo because he is in love with her, which only adds more fuel to the fire. Iago tells Desdemona's father that Othello is married to his daughter, but Desdemona's father does not believe this. He believes that Othello has put a spell on her and forced her to marry him, and sets off to confront her. Othello tells him that he has won her over through his adventurous stories. Desdemona comes into the scene to reassure his father and tell him that she truly does love Othello. Othello is then sent to the island of Cyprus to defend it from the invading Turkish army, and tells Iago to bring Desdemona after his arrival. Iago tells Rodrigo to sell all of his land to head to Cyprus. This will give Rodrigo his chance to woo Desdemona. Before any fighting can start, a huge hurricane wipes out the entire Turkish ship and all of its soldiers. That night was a night of celebration because of the end of the war and Othello's official marriage. That night, Iago got Cassio really drunk and into a fight with Rodrigo. Othello found out about this and gave Cassio the boot. Cassio was desperate to get his job back, so he got Desdemona alone and convinced her to tell Othello to give him his job back. Iago was sneaky about and noticed the secret meeting between Cassio and Desdemona, and decided to trick Othello into thinking that Desdemona was having an affair with Cassio. This scene is from Iago's perspective when he finds Cassio and Desdemona on their secret meeting while they are holding hands. See how he takes her by the palm. Aye, well said. With as little as web as this I shall ensnare the great fly that is Cassio. Smile upon her, do thee. I will give thee in thine own courtship. You say it's true. 'Tis so indeed, if such tricks may strip you of your own lieutenantry. It had been better off that you had not kissed your 3 fingers in oft, which again you have most apt played the sir in. Very good, well kissed. Excellent curtsy. 'Tis so indeed. Oh, touching fingers to lips once again, were crystal pipes for your own sake. Iago tells Othello that Desdemona snuck off with Cassio, which raises suspicion. Later, Desdemona tells Othello that he must forgive Cassio and give him his job back. Iago sees this as a moment for more trickery. He pretends as if something is wrong towards Othello, but refuses to tell him what it is. Othello eventually forces him to say what he is thinking. Iago says that he must watch Desdemona because she may be unfaithful to him. Othello does not believe it at first, but once Iago plants one of Desdemona's handkerchiefs in Cassio's bed, Othello starts wondering what his wife is doing when he isn't around. Othello is furious. He tells Iago to murder Cassio, but since Iago doesn't want to get his hands dirty, Iago tells Rodrigo to do it. Rodrigo was going to tell Othello Iago's plan, but before he could, Iago murders Rodrigo. Othello confronts Desdemona about Cassio, but Othello gets too angry and chokes Desdemona to death with a pillow. Iago's wife, Emilia, walks in to see Desdemona dead, and Othello explains to her that Desdemona was cheating on him. Emilia explains to Othello that Iago has tricked him. Upon saying this, Iago comes in and stabs his wife to death. Knowing that he was tricked, Othello kills Iago. Seeing that he has nothing left to live for, Othello also ends up killing himself. This play because it is when Othello begins to lose his mind and spurs to kill his own innocent wife. Another one of the themes is that jealousy leads to destruction. Shakespeare uses both Iago and Othello to show how jealousy can change a person. Jealousy within both of these people corrupts their thinking and made them make really bad decisions. A professional assessment of this play is from Harold Bloom, who did his blog on Othello. and he was mainly talking about Iago. He said Iago is perhaps one of the most evil Shakespeare characters, not for his treachery, but for his effortless manipulation of others. Iago gets what he wants by taking advantage of his victims' trust and motivations. He also takes advantage of weaknesses like Othello's pride and Cassio's impaired judgment while drunk to achieve his ends. Iago is a skillful, pragmatic manipulator seeking revenge for his anger. He is likely insecure, and pride is as much his weakness as is Othello's. Iago never reveals his treachery. Instead, his wife reveals his tangled web of wickedness, and for this Iago kills her. Most villains in Shakespeare are overcome by these they oppress, which seems to represent a recurring theme of restoration of order. So as you can see from this little presentation, the play Othello is a very interesting read, and I suggest that you read it for yourself. Oh dear, it appears that I am out of hot chocolate. So, looks like that's all the time we have today. My name is Devin Duvier, and like always, this is Fireside Reads.